Hi guys, we're going to have a little geometry lesson tonight. This lesson will include circles, and not only circles and a little bit of their parts, but we're also going to include how to find the area and circumference of a circle. It's important that we know the parts of a circle. Any circle has a center, and the center is how you name the circle. For instance, this circle is called circle L. If you had a line segment extending from the center of the circle to the edge of the circle, such as LM, that's called the radius. The radius is the same, and there are infinitely many radii. If you draw lines from the center of the circle to the edge of the circle, anywhere on the circle, then you have a radius, and they would all be the same measure. Another part of the circle you need to know is the diameter. The diameter is a line segment that extends from one side of the circle to the other side of the circle, and it goes through the center. So in this case, we have a diameter called NO. Now, it's important that you know, to get a diameter, you simply take the radius and you double it. If you had a radius and you wanted to find the diameter, you double it. But if you had the diameter and wanted to find the radius, you would half it. Now, it doesn't seem really important right now, but that's going to be very crucial later on to be able to go from the diameter to the radius. So we need to practice a few. If I give you that the diameter of a circle is 4 meters, picture the previous page in your mind. How do we find the radius if I give you the diameter? Now, the diameter goes all the way through the circle. So with a radius, it's just halfway through the circle, so we take the diameter and divide it by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2 meters. So if the diameter is 4 meters, the radius is 2 meters. What if I give you the radius? Now this is from the center of the circle to the edge, and I ask for the diameter. Well, you'd have to double it to get the diameter, and 2 times 6 would be 12, and in this case centimeters. Number 3, if the diameter is 20 inches, how would you find the radius? The radius is half the diameter, so we need to take half or divide it by 2. The radius would be 10 inches. They're very important measurements that we can take from a circle. And the first is the area. Now what you're doing if you're finding the area of the circle is to find the amount of space that covers a circle. So maybe with paint or with wallpaper or something that would cover a surface. That's what we're finding when we have area. The circumference is kind of like the perimeter of a circle. The circumference, picture a circle as a string that's tied, and if you untied it and stretched it out and measured the string, that would be the circumference. Now there's 2 formulas. There's a formula to help you find area, and there's a formula to help you find the circumference. Area is found by multiplying pi, that's what that little symbol is, pi times r squared. The circumference is pi times d, which is diameter. So to find the area, we say area equals pi times the radius squared, and the circumference is pi times diameter, and that would give you the measurements of both the area and circumference. Now notice, if the diameter is really twice the radius, you could also think of circumference as 2 pi r. That 2 in the r represents still the diameter. It's just another way of thinking about it. Now what in the world is pi? It's a funny little symbol. And at that symbol, it represents the circumference divided by the diameter of any circle, small or large. So what do you do with that? Well, that symbol is irrational. That means it never repeats and it never terminates. But we typically will round it and use 3.14 to represent it, and that's what I want you to do. So when you see the symbol pi in the formulas, use 3.14 to substitute in place of it. So let's try some. What if I show you a circle on the left that gives you the radius and a circle on the right that gives you the diameter, but I want to know both the area and circumference of both circles? So you have to do 2 formulas for the left circle and 2 formulas for the right circle. I need you to know the formulas. The area is pi times r squared, the radius squared. Circumference is pi times diameter. So we need to try the first one. Do you remember what pi represents? We can use 3.14 and that's the actual radius. So we can say 3.14 times 8 squared. 8 squared is not 16. It's not 8 times 2. 8 squared is 8 times 8. You have two 8s. That's what that little 2 stands for. So what is 3.14 times 64? It's 296 hundredths meters squared. Area is always with a unit that's squared. Inches squared, centimeters squared, meters squared. So 296 hundredths meters squared is the area of that left circle. Now let's try the circumference. Now 3.14 again is what we insert for pi, but what about the diameter? If I give you 8 and that's the radius, what's the diameter? We double it, and so the diameter is 16. And now we multiply 3.14 times 16 and we get 50 and 24 hundredths meters. This is just basically a distance. This is not area. So it's 50 and 24 hundredths meters. Now we're going to do the same thing with the second circle. We start with the same formulas. Area is pi r squared. Circumference is pi times diameter. But this time I've not given you the radius. This time I've supplied you the diameter. So for my area formula, we know that pi is 3.14, but what's the radius of that circle? The radius of that circle is 10. If the diameter is 20, the radius is 10. So 10 squared is what we'll use in the formula. 3.14 times 100. 10 times 10 is 100. 3.14 times 100 is 314 inches squared. Now for the circumference, this one's a little easier because the circumference needs the diameter, and that's what they've supplied you in this circle. So the circumference is pi 3.14 times 20. 3.14 times 20 is 62 and 8/10 inches. Alright, watch that as many times as you need to, and then on the next page I want you to try one more. If I give you a circle, can you find the area and circumference of this circle? Now you need to ask yourself, have I been supplied the diameter or the radius? I can give you one and ask you to find either. So let's try the formulas. The area equals pi times the radius squared, and the circumference is pi times the diameter, and that's what I've given you in this circle is the diameter. So for that first formula, 3.14 will be pi, but what's the radius? Can you picture it? The radius is half the diameter, so we're going to use 6. And 6 squared is 36. 3 and 14 hundredths, or 3.14 for pi, times 36 will be 113 and 4 hundredths meters squared. The circumference is pi times diameter. 3.14 times the diameter will be 37 and 68 hundredths meters. So you needed the diameter, and that's what they provided you. Alright guys, do as many problems as you need to. Watch this as many times as you need to. Good luck.